Now more than ever, innovative technologies are fueling change and sparking new ways of thinking. Collaboration between corporations and startups is key to staying at the forefront of these trends. However, finding the right startups can be expensive, time-consuming, and ineffective. But Plug and Play is here to help. As a corporate partner, you will gain access to a whole ecosystem of innovation. Discover startups that meet your tech interests. Stay updated on the latest trends and network with industry peers. We will help you during every stage of your innovation journey, no matter where you are and where you want to go. Get in touch today.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our New Materials and Packaging Batch 11 Spring Summit. For those who don't know me, my name is Alexandra Neeson, Senior Partner Success Manager, and I've had the honor of working on the New Materials and Packaging team for the last 3 years. We are very excited to present to you today 17 startups who have spent the past 3 months in our Business Development Accelerator program. We have seen many of these startups flourish in these months, and we are pleased to see the advancements they have made today. Here you can see our agenda for today's expo. We have an honorable keynote speaker who I will introduce a little later, and 17 startups with a short coffee break in between. Each pitch will be about 4 minutes long, and there will be no Q&A because we want to encourage you to ask these questions to the startups one-on-one in the networking portion on Attendify. As you can see here on this slide, each startup will have their own booth. Here you can see all the information from each startup company. You can find them by using the filter button, and then if you want to meet with somebody, just simply click the Meet Now function. The Meet Now button will allow you to have one-on-one video chats with the startup in their virtual booths. Green is go, so this means they are ready to chat now. To all of our startups in the audience here, please make sure that you turn on your Meet Now feature under your name in the upper right-hand corner. If you want to learn more, feel free to scan this QR code and it will take you to a link that will tell you more about Attendify. Here you can also see the partners that sponsor these 6 programs in alphabetical order. Learn more about their initiatives and meet with some of their team members via the Meet Now function. In the Community and Participants tab, you can search profiles of all the summit attendees. If you wish to send a message, you can do so at any time by clicking the Send Message button, and you can also search for attendees in the upper search bar. We really want to encourage you to not only meet with startups, but other partners and attendees that are here today as well. Great. Now that you all have a brief understanding of Attendify, let's do an overview of Plug and Play. Now, as many of you know, at Plug and Play, we offer an open innovation platform. This includes our accelerator programs, where we run over 60 programs globally. And then this is sponsored by our corporate innovation partners, in which we have over 500 major corporate partners from every continent. Lastly, through our venture capital arm, we invest in over 250 companies a year worldwide. Next, you can see the map that shows our global reach. We have 38 plus global locations with some new programs in Sao Paulo, Istanbul, and various parts of Asia. We look to our corporate partners when it comes to global expansion, and we build a global vision with them. Next, you can see we have 18 different industry-specific verticals, many of which you have seen over the past 2 weeks, ranging from supply chain, retail, media and ad, who you may have seen last week, and then this week's kickoff with New Materials and Packaging. This session will be followed by food and sustainability, so feel free to check out those events as well. Our New Materials and Packaging vertical was founded in 2015, so it's been a good 6 years, and we wanted to share some stats to highlight the work that has been done. With 21 partners, we've accelerated close to 200 startups over the course of 11 batches, and we've made 9 investments in the space and looking to do more in 2021. Next, you can see our main focus areas for our program. Highlighted in yellow, you can see the trends that we're hyper-focused on within these topics. We determine our focus based on partners' needs, and you will be seeing many of the startups touch on these topics today. So some of these include automation, digitalization, and you will see that on the next slide here. On this slide, you'll see the logos of the 17 startups who will be pitching today. And we broke it down into those 4 categories, including digitalization, packaging, coatings and additives, and bio-based materials. So over the past 3 months, the startups have been given resources and introductions to many partners in our network, and that have led to some impressive advancements within these startup companies. With over 20 NDAs signed, we look forward to the potential projects that will come out of this program. And of course, none of this would be possible without our corporate partners. So special thanks to all those companies and their champions who work tirelessly to implement these innovations and solutions within their company with hopes for a better future. Now, without further ado, it is my honor to introduce John Bissell. John Bissell co-founded Origin Materials in November 2008. And has served as Chief Executive Officer and member of the board since its inception. John has extensive experience in R&D, engineering, and business development in the chemical industry. So with that, John, I'd love to pass it off to you.
Hi, so I'm John Bissell. I'm one of the co-CEOs and co-founders of Origin Materials. And I'm here to talk a little bit about Origin, but also the context of sort of the startup and strategic investor environment in which we operate, because I think that's going to be important both for startup companies and for the big strategic customers and investors in the space. And I'll try to sort of talk through a couple different key points as I go through the presentation. One is, how did we as Origin get here? 2 is, how do large companies work with startups and vice versa? What's normal in those interactions? What's unusual? What should you try to avoid? And some of that I'll probably hit in the questions Q&A session as well. Is there any advice that I have for how big companies can work with smaller companies, and again, vice versa? And then maybe a little bit about where do I see industry trends going? And what do I think the future looks like? Okay, so with that, let's start. So first, let me just give you a big picture overview of Origin as a company, because why am I standing up here? So first, we're a materials company. We have a disruptive materials platform that lets us take lignocellulosic feedstocks of a whole variety of sorts, everything from forest products from the timber industry to waste materials like waste paper and waste cardboard, and convert those into a whole bunch of different materials. What we talk about the most is PET. And we can make a low carbon or carbon negative PET, but we can also make ingredients into paints and coatings, tires, all sorts of different things. This is at its core, this is a decarbonizing platform technology. And that's what lets us go after so many different specific materials. It's really a materials platform that we can then make specific products off the top of. Because it's a platform and because of its flexibility, we can go after a really big proportion of the total materials and products that are sort of physical goods that are made in the world. And so from that perspective, we look at this as really like $1 trillion TAM. And one of the keys is that we're not just flexible in the materials that we can make and low or negative carbon in the materials that we produce, but we're also cost advantaged. So, that's sort of the trifecta. You've got to be low carbon, you've got to be flexible so you can address lots of different problems, and you've got to have good economics, cost parity, and we can do that. We're supported by some major strategic investors, so we have a lot of experience on that front. PepsiCo, Nestle, and Danone were the 3 that came in earliest together, and they're big customers, they're partners, they're also investors, so we're significantly owned by them. And they contribute to this, this really large order book of demand that I'll talk a little bit about later. But we have demand of more than $2.5 billion already on the books, and we're sort of working our way through that and adding to it. So we've added over $1 billion of that total customer demand just in the last couple of months. So we're moving pretty quickly. We're a technology company, so we have a really strong IP core. And then, one of the reasons why we were talking to folks like you guys and that people ask us about stuff is because we're raising a whole bunch of money. So we're raising, nearly $1 billion as part of this SPAC transaction going public. So that's sort of Origin in a nutshell. The driver for us is really as a company, and I think as an industry, the driver is that companies have realized that they need to get to net zero and that carbon neutrality is paramount. And this is coming from all sorts of different sectors, right? So, but I think one of the most important drivers is the financial sector. So investors are telling these companies and the whole world, frankly, that they have got to get to net zero. And if they don't do that, they're really not going to be taken seriously. And so that's driven a whole wave of net zero commitments. And you can see some of those here, right? But by no means are these the only companies making these commitments. I'd have to update the slide daily if I were trying to include all of the different companies that are making these commitments. But I want to call your attention to a couple different things here. So one, it's all kinds of companies, right? So it's not just consumer products companies. It's not just tech companies, which have different elements that they need to decarbonize in their business. But it's also the major energy companies, right? Like BP has a net zero carbon commitment, which really makes you think back. Well, how are they going to achieve that? What has to change? And the answer is a lot has to change. Right? It's not just a little bit. There are whole sections of the economy, not small sections, really big ones, that have got to structurally change in order to achieve these net zero commitments. And I think that's something that these companies are starting to come to grips with. They say, hey, look, I'm Walmart and I'm going to be net zero by 2040. But that's an amazing claim, right? We may have nearly 20 years to get that done, but we are going to need every single day of that 20 years in order to scale up as a species, in order to scale up our supply chains and adjust our supply chains in order to deliver on that commitment. And that's a good thing, I think. But it's not just Walmart, right? It's all of these companies. And so if you look at it across the board, there is an incredible amount of capital investment in construction, in changes in the way that we operate in order to deliver on these. So in some ways, you could almost argue that huge proportions of the entire global economy over the next 10 to 20 years are going to be governed by these net zero commitments that are being made right now. And what I think is really, really important here for us is that these net zero commitments cannot just be satisfied by the energy that companies consume. It also has to do with the physical goods that they make. And I think there's been a lot of focus on energy historically. So people have looked at, solar and wind power as a mechanism for decarbonization. That's incredibly powerful, right? How do we use the advantages or the advances that we've made in utility scale energy production and decarbonizing the utility scale energy production? How do we extend that into other areas of the economy, like energy that's used for transportation? And so you see the electric vehicle drive, right, is really extending the advances that we've made in utility scale energy generation into transport. But if you look at this chart, right, half of it is energy and half of it is all of the other stuff, right? It's the physical products, it's the food that we consume and produce, it's the built environment, and it's the materials that our products are made out of and the products themselves. And that's really where we come into play. And it is in the physical goods and the physical materials that the world is constructed out of, right? So as you look around you, all of the physical goods that are around you are the product of effectively the chemical industry at some point, right? That's the other word for chemicals is materials, physical goods at the atoms world. And that's a really, really big part of this, this global emission set that we've got to reduce. And I think that the companies on the prior page are starting to understand that. So it's easy to look at energy and say, look, it looks like we have all of the answers there. But when you look at the material side and the product side, we don't have all of the answers yet. We're part of that. There are a lot of companies that could be part of that, but it is not obvious exactly how all of that's going to be done. And I think that's a huge opportunity for us going forward as a species again. Okay. So let me give you, again, I was talking about Origin at the high level. I gave you a little bit of my view of sort of the direction the world's going and what are the drivers here. Let me connect that to back to us again for a moment and talk about our technology. So our technology is we take lignocellulosic materials like those on the left, we convert that principally into two different intermediates, chemical intermediates, chloromethylfurfural, CMF, and hydrothermal carbon, HTC. And when we do that, you know, the carbon negative, we can do that at low cost because the feedstocks are low cost. And because we're making flexible, chemically flexible intermediates, we can make all kinds of different things. So PET, of course, can be used for packaging, food and beverage packaging. It can be used for fibers, for textiles, apparel, carpet, that kind of thing. We can make all sorts of other things. Some of those are over on the right as well. So you can get a sense of sort of how the infrastructural changes that we are making as a company can have wide-ranging ramifications in the way that lots of different materials are produced. And some of these materials are existing materials. We just make them in a different way. And so as a result, they have a lower carbon footprint, different cost structure, but they have, but they're actually the same. They're the same physical material. Some of the stuff that we make is new. So it has different functionality. Obviously we're generally only interested if it has better functionality than what you can get from fossil sources, has a different cost structure and has the low carbon aspect. But in both of those cases, what we're really doing is we're going in and we're attacking the existing physical goods that we all use as a species to try to get them to a lower carbon footprint. And we think that by addressing this with the plan that we've laid out and the capital that we're raising, we can get to more than 8 million metric tons per year of CO2 avoided or sequestered per year by 2030. Now, that we don't stop there, right? We're going to keep going because this platform technology can get much, much larger than that. But that's where we're focused. And to put that in a little bit of context, that's like taking 1.8 million cars off the road, which is something like 4 times as many cars as Tesla produced last year. So there's real opportunity here. And we think that's emblematic actually of the material space more broadly. Okay, so now let's get into how we have related to some of the strategics, right? The big companies out there that are trying to do this decarbonization that we were talking about a minute ago. How do they work with companies like us? So the way that we come to play, I'll use Danone, Nestle, and Pepsi as a case study here because they were early investors for us. We've worked with them for a really long time, and the way that we've worked with them is specifically, first we got in with them relatively early. They saw us as one of the most important ways to decarbonize, a really big part of their business, right? PET is one of the major materials that they buy as companies, at least in the segments that we're talking about. And so they really, it's very difficult for them to meet their sustainability goals without also addressing the PET part of their spend. We're the answer to that, right? So we come in, we can make carbon negative PET. And what they did is they said, okay, well, you guys are a potential solution here. How do we work together to bring you up to scale? Because that's what they care about, right? If we're a small R&D project or even a sort of specialty chemicals group, we could make some money as a specialty chemicals group, and maybe that's attractive as a company, but it doesn't solve their problem, right? We need scale in order to help them solve their problems. And so the question is, how do we scale? How do we make this happen faster? How do we get us to scale in the right way? And there are a couple different components there. One, they join our board. So that's not always the case. Sometimes it's the right answer. Sometimes it's not the right answer. There's a level of sophistication that's required. I think there's a level of commitment on the part of both the small company and the large company in order for that kind of relationship to work. But that's what we did here, and I think it worked really well. It helped us understand them and their needs and their time horizons and the way that they operate and the way that they pull their strategy together much, much better. And it helped them understand that about us as well, right? So they came onto the board with I think, an intent to learn, not just an intent to sort of direct us. And I think that was an important way. So they joined the board, but it was as much about the way they joined the board, what was the mindset they brought when they joined the board, as it was anything else. Because the context of a company like Origin, that's a startup company, is very different than the context that even very senior leaders out of a company like Nestle, Danone, or Pepsi comes from, right? The constraints are different, the strategic drivers are different. And so, that has to be recognized when they join the board. And I think that's one of the best ways for them to learn, but not the only way. They invested, which aligns our interest, right? So they want us to grow to supply them as a customer, but this way it also makes sense for them to be aligned with the way that we grow, right? It's not enough for us to grow. We've got to grow in a way that's profitable and makes sense financially and commercially. They signed large offtake agreements. So, that's the clearest, most obvious answer between big companies and small companies is we're customers, or they're customers of ours. So making sure that you codify that and you understand it. And the process of going through signing an offtake agreement is, I think, one that brings you much closer together, right? You understand each other in a concrete way when you're committing to offtake volumes, much more so than you do if you're just discussing it at a high level strategic way. But it's also important to do that in a way that it has the right levels of flexibility to it, and make sure that everybody's coming into it with the strategic context, again, on both sides of what is this offtake for? How are we putting this offtake together? How is it going to be used, right? Is it going to be used purely as the medium of exchange? Is it going to be used to help guide strategic decisions on both sides so that you can coordinate better around something concrete? There are lots of ways that you can use. Is it going to be used in order to finance facilities, right, and construction? It depends on the context, but I think it's important to understand how those offtakes are going to be used. And then I think the perhaps final, but for us, one of the most important things was to do the product and value proposition validation that was required for us to develop the technology and the business appropriately, and was required for them to get the comfort that we could deliver the value proposition that they wanted, so that they could track that back to their strategic level planning, right? So I think those were all really, really important components of our relationship with these companies. And I think, frankly, no company does everything well, but I think we did this pretty well in terms of engaging. Doesn't mean that it was all easy. Doesn't mean that we automatically understood all of, on either side, all of the different nuances of how that relationship is going to go. I think, but it was really, really important for us to be engaged at all of those different levels with these companies. I think more broadly, if I step back from our specific context and I talk about sort of how do big and little companies work together, I think I have just a couple points that I would make. One is for the big strategic players, I think it's important for them to understand the specific constraints for smaller, younger companies. And in particular, if they treat them like any other supplier, like a supplier that may be similarly sized to the big strategic customer, I think that can be extremely damaging for the small company. The signals that small company might be trying to send by pushing back are probably very different kinds of signals than you would get with a large strategic scale vendor or supplier. And so I just think that's really important for the big customers out there to consider. They need to have a bit of a specialized approach for startups. I think on the startup side, it's important to understand that the big strategic companies have a much more complicated internal environment in the company than startups tend to have. So, startups are relatively small organizations, and the organization itself often doesn't have nearly the same level of complexity, political complexity, practical sort of supply-oriented and complexity, et cetera. And so startups have got to understand that these big organizations are not monolithic, right? So the people that you are dealing with have a lot of other concerns beyond just those that you might think, that the company itself as a whole has. So, Pepsi has drivers, but then the organizations that we deal with inside Pepsi, as an example, right, have those drivers and others. And that's just an important thing to realize, right? And so a lot of that, it's not, it's just the reality when you get large organizations, right? There are lots of parts that all have to synchronize, and there are ways for that synchronization to happen. And you've got to really understand that, and I would say often respect it. Okay, so now what I'd like to do is go through, I'll give you, I won't spend as much time on each one, but I'll give you some examples of some of the other partnerships that we have. And that'll, really that'll just be hooks for you guys to, ask questions about or noodle on. So, one is, and these are in no particular order, AECI is an African company. Sands is one of their North America divisions that makes technical fibers. So technical fibers in this case means materials that are going into automotive applications often. So everything from, or military applications, everything from stuff like seat covers to seat belts. You can imagine that the quality of material that you need for a seat belt is different than the quality of material you need for a carpet. They may not be exactly the same. You have sort of different risk reward ratio on defining the quality of those. And so ACI tends to be, or their Sands division specifically tends to be on that highly technical end. And we're both doing development with them on existing materials that just happen to be carbon negative when they're made with our process. And we're working with them on new materials, and they understand the application specific requirements of new materials in a way that a lot of other companies don't. And so we find that a really useful partnership from that perspective. We have another one with a different division of AECI called Much Asphalt. So asphalt is obviously completely different than fibers and packaging. It's a construction material. It's what roads are made up out of. But it's actually a pretty complicated material. We think of asphalt as just as a consumer, we often think of it as sort of just a big dumb material that you drive on top of. But there's actually a lot that goes into the asphalt to make it behave the way that you want it to. You want it to, resist a lot of thermal changes, right? So sometimes roads freeze, sometimes they get really hot. The asphalt needs to behave well through all of those different conditions, right? You want it to flex in the right way, right? Sometimes asphalt is quieter to drive on. Other kinds of asphalt might be louder to drive on, right? And that has to do with the way that you formulate it. And there are lots of different levers you have or knobs you have to tune in the way that asphalt performs. Cost, of course, is one of them as well. So what we find interesting here is we can not only bring carbon negative inputs into the asphalt, but there are actually ways that we can improve the performance of the asphalt as well. And that's what we're doing with them. So completely different than fibers and packaging. We work with another organization that is not usually sort of a brand name or even close to a brand name from a consumer perspective, but actually they do an enormous volume of packaging, and it's really with respect to food packaging. So when you look at produce and fruit and things like that, it often comes in a PET package, and we have the ability to make that PET. We're working with this company to make those PET packages so that you can have a carbon negative PET package that your produce comes in, and then you can recycle the PET package on the other side. What's interesting also, I'll say about packaging in general, is that the performance of the material matters more than you might think. So one of the things that happens when you're packaging fruits and vegetables like this is if you don't do a good job, then the fruit or vegetable gets bruised, it gets damaged, it gets thrown out, never gets consumed. And so that performance can matter a lot economically, even though, again, it looks like a relatively simple package. We're working with PrimaLoft. So PrimaLoft does a lot on the performance apparel side, both insulation, textile materials as well. They work with tons and tons of brands. Has been a great company to work with, but again, brings a totally different application-specific knowledge. And since we're in the materials business, materials get used across thousands of different applications where there's really detailed knowledge about how to make that material work well in that application. We've got to go find partners that know how to make those materials work well. We make the materials, they know how to make them work well in the application. And then Solvay. So Solvay is another interesting one. Solvay is not a consumer product company. It's not even really close to a lot of the end consumer companies. It's deeper in the industrial supply chain. And what we're working on a variety of things with them, but really high performance, sort of like sands, but different applications, really high performance materials that go deep into the technical applications like automotive applications, things like that, under the hood stuff. So that's another very interesting relationship. And again, there's, they have knowledge around how to use materials in these particular ways that is very difficult to come by, quite unique. Okay, and then I'll just give you sort of a brief overview of Origin as a company in terms of history and timeline. So founded in 2008 with Ryan Smith, our CTO. We developed technology, built pilot plants, used those pilot plants to produce samples that could be evaluated by Nestle, Danone, and Pepsi. They, as I mentioned earlier, subsequently invested, signed large offtake agreements, made public announcements. Our first commercial plant, Origin 1, is under construction right now. It's expected to be done at the end of 2022. And then with the capital from this transaction, we're also embarking on what we call Origin 2, which is an even larger commercial plant, and we expect that to be done in 2025. So with that, I'll stop and I'll open it up for questions.
Thank you so much for your presentation, John. It's great to see the progress that you've made, and we look forward to seeing how Origin continues to grow in the future. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Alexandra Pine. I'm a ventures analyst for new materials and packaging, and I will be your MC for today. Like Ali mentioned earlier, we will have 17 pitches. Each one is about 14 minutes long with no Q&A after. So we encourage you to visit their Attendify booth and chat with them after the presentations have ended. And with that, let's kick off the startup pitches. First up, we have Johanna from Traceless. Traceless Materials is an innovative circular bioeconomy startup offering a sustainable alternative material to conventional bioplastics.
Hey, we are Traceless, a circular bioeconomy startup from Germany offering a holistic, sustainable alternative material to conventional plastics, with the mission to solve the global plastic pollution. Traceless disrupts the plastic market by going beyond the sustainability of bioplastics, from just bio-based to using the residues of agricultural industry, avoiding the food conflict, and from industrial degradable to actually compostable in the environment, avoiding further plastic pollution. Our material degrades in the environment in a time span of a couple of weeks without leaving a trace, hence the name. Completely avoiding the use of any fossil resources, we saved 87% CO2, avoiding the land use change conflict by basing our materials on residues of the agricultural industry. And after their use, products made of Traceless can easily be disposed in any waste stream. Our materials don't need any hazardous chemicals making them safe for human and nature, and if they should end up in nature, they compost, they are leaving a 100% plastic-free environment. And last but not least, our production price will, on industrial production scale, also be competitive with price on conventional plastics in the EU. Our technology, filed for patent, makes the manufacturing of our materials much less complex, more environmental friendly, and in the end, much cheaper than the production process of conventional bioplastics. In that way, we achieve a quality in our materials that is already comparable to conventional plastics in the mechanical properties and also in the barrier properties. Furthermore, our materials are extrudable, injection moldable, heat sealable, and, for example, usable for paper coating, and they're also dye and printable. All this makes our material applicable for a wide range of applications. And this is our goal, to substitute plastics in all products that can easily end up in the environment.
If you're interested in working with us, we'd love to develop first prototypes together with you for your use cases now, bring them to market in first pilots from 2022 onwards, and offer you our materials in bulk from 2025 onwards. We just founded the company last year, but already gathered an amazing multidisciplinary team that will help us to bring Traceless to market fast. And we're supported by amazing organizations. Over the past 3 months, we have achieved a lot. Let me highlight the delivery of our first paid prototype, the start of 5 pilot projects with converters, as well as winning a €1,000 grant and closing our first investment round, which allows us to hire our core team and build our pilot plant. Because it is our goal to scale up our production fast, to substitute as much plastic with traceless material as possible, and that way maximize our contribution to solve the global plastic pollution. Following this roadmap, and based on our LCA, by 2030, we will have substituted 820,000 tons of plastic production, prevented 100,000 tons of plastic in the environment, and 5.5 million tons of CO2 emissions. So, be part of the solution, not part of the pollution. With our materials, we can help you offer your customers truly sustainable product choices, expanding your market growth. As our materials are neither chemically modified nor synthetically polymerized, they won't fall under the EU plastic directives. And with that, we can offer you an economically feasible solution with huge scale-up potential.
Thank you to the Traceless team. Our next startup is Atmonia. Atmonia has developed a sustainable nitrogen fertilizer. They use electrochemical catalysis for ammonia production for on-site applications in precision agriculture.
Ammonia is the foundation for all nitrogen fertilizers, and nitrogen fertilizers are essential for food production on the planet. Unfortunately, ammonia is produced by the Haber-Bosch process, which contributes significantly to greenhouse gas emissions every year. This presentation describes a new technology for production of sustainable ammonia, which is in development by the company Atmonia in Iceland. The key issue facing the ammonia and fertilizer industry is that the current production is responsible for up to 2% of global CO2 emissions, causing CO2 taxation to steadily rise on agricultural products in most areas. Furthermore, building a Haber-Bosch factory requires a very large infrastructure, demanding a capex of over $500 million and a steady input of natural gas or coal, resulting in few large players in the market. Atmonia is developing a zero emissions process for ammonia production, where the only inputs are air, water, and electricity. With a set price for electricity, ammonia is produced at a constant price, and with the price of renewable energy gradually decreasing, the cost of ammonia will become low. Finally, the capex of an Atmonia factory is multitudes lower than that of a Haber-Bosch, and the technology enables small, distributed factories to be placed anywhere where there is electricity and water. At the heart of the Atmonia system is the novel catalyst that enables production of ammonia from water, air, and electricity. The catalyst is in electric cells stacked into a containerized solution. A second module under development by Atmonia produces nitrate from ammonia, yielding ammonium nitrate or other nitrate-based fertilizer, and the Atmonia technology is fully IP protected. A single container will have the capacity of 150 metric tons of ammonia a year. The containers can work independently or be stacked into a factory to suit various sizes of operations and applications, ranging from fertilizer production to ammonia as a fuel of the future. The most economical way to operate the Atmonia system is to place the production containers as close to the electricity source as possible and move the ammonia on trucks regionally to the point of application, for example, to fertilizer blenders or directly to farmers. Thereby, the electricity grid costs are circumvented and the sustainable ammonia can be cost competitive to the market price of current brown ammonia. For power companies, the Atmonia system is ideal for capturing excess energy from wind or solar as valuable ammonia, as the ammonia production can be turned on and off as needed. A project of identifying catalyst candidates with simulations was started in 2012 by Professor Egil Skulason at the University of Iceland. Atmonia was then incorporated around the idea in 2016. Here are the key employees of our company. Pictured on the left are the three company founders, Dr. Ejo Skulason, who envisioned the project, Dr. Helga Flossedotter, chemist and chief research officer, as well as engineer Arnar Sveinbjörnsson. On the right are Atmonia's CEO, Gudbjörg Rist, and chief business officer, Håkan Björkesson. We are working on the technology in the lab right now, aiming at the first catalyst scale-up by the end of this year. Atmonia has received over 5 million in non-dilutive funding to date, taken in a pre-seed investment and currently finalizing a seed financing round. So we are looking for partners to join us to get Atmonia technology fast and successfully to market.
Thank you, Atmonia. Next, we will hear from Intermix Performance Materials. Intermix creates additives that enable the efficient and cost-effective recycling of post-consumer mixed plastic waste. Welcome, Jack.
Hi, my name is Jack Lester, a co-founder of Intermix Performance Materials. Together with Cornell professor Jeff Coates, we founded Intermix to commercialize and scale technologies that he and his colleagues created at the Coates Lab at Cornell University. Since our founding in early 2021, we've built a dedicated team of experienced scientists and business professionals. Polyethylene and polypropylene account for more than 2/3 of the 400 million tons of plastic produced around the world annually. They're really important and valuable. They protect and preserve our food. They're durable and they're affordable. Polyethylene and polypropylene also create challenges. Because of their chemical makeup, they're immiscible. Like oil and water, they do not blend well together. Their mixture results in poor performance properties, and they're very difficult and expensive to sort. This makes it very difficult to capture the value from mixed plastic waste. As a result, more than 90% of plastic is either incinerated, landfilled, or lost in the environment, and only 2% is upcycled into products of equal or greater value. Our disruptive technology offers two significant opportunities to create substantial value in combining or compatibilizing polyethylene and polypropylene. The first is to introduce our additive into the plastic waste recycling stream. Doing so will dramatically increase the supply of suitable PCRs, increase yields, reduce processing costs, and result in resins that can be reused and upcycled. The second opportunity is to create new materials, combining polyethylene and polypropylene in new ways, combining their unique performance characteristics. By creating, in effect, alloys that combine the impact resistance of polyethylene and the rigidity of polypropylene, we can meet the unique requirements of customers, including lightweighting their products. As noted earlier, most mixed plastic waste has little to no value because of the high sorting costs and the poor resultant quality of the resins. You can see in the video below that a mix of 70% polyethylene, 30% polypropylene results in a plastic with really poor properties. This next image shows the phase separation that occurs at the molecular level between polyethylene and polypropylene. And now our compatibilizer, in effect, stitching together the polyethylene and the polypropylene, compatibilizing it. The results demonstrated in this slide and the video below are when we have 1% of our additive to a 70-30 mix of polyethylene and polypropylene, the result is a polymer with really enhanced performance characteristics. Our value proposition is benefiting from strong tailwinds. Governments around the world are seeking to curb plastic use and, in some cases, production. Corporations are increasing their sustainability efforts and their commitments to it, and consumers are willing to do their part and pay for it. Both the plastic recycling business and the specialty plastic industry are large and growing rapidly, capturing just 5% of the US plastic recycling industry could generate market revenue of $180 million in just the short term. As the US moves closer to recycling rates seen in Europe, that potential exceeds $1 billion a year. Similarly, on specialty plastics, capturing just a small percentage, 1% of that industry would generate nearly $500 million in revenue in the very short term, and far in excess of that over the longer term. Our team has truly benefited from the plug and play experience. With that, Jeff and I want to thank you for your attention and your willingness to learn more about Intermix. Thank you.
Thank you, Intermix. And next we will hear from Syndo. Syndo creates a novel biological platform to turn low-value plastic landfill waste into high-value molecules.
My name is Gustav Hamburg, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Syndo. We're harnessing the power of enzymes to upcycle currently unrecyclable plastic waste. The prevalent linear consumption model of plastics is estimated to generate an economic loss of around $100 billion per year. Finding novel ways of connecting plastic waste with useful chemical industry has the potential of making plastics one of the cheapest organic feedstocks to promote the green circular economy. Polyolefins and vinyl plastics account for about 75% of global plastic production and are commonly the most difficult to recycle by non-mechanical methods due to the stable properties stemming from the lack of natural cleavage points in their carbon backbones, hindering efficient depolymerization or degradation into useful molecules. At Syndo, we're developing enzymes to cleave these stable carbon-carbon bonds to enable plastic degradation into molecules that can be used as crucial building blocks in chemical industries. During my PhD, we identified novel enzyme functionality to cleave molecular analogs incorporating key structural components of plastics. We then continue work with longer carbon chains before starting to work with full-length polymers. We've identified aldehyde metabolites commonly used as building blocks in important chemical industries, including fragrance and flavor, plasticizer and nylon industries. The ability to cleave plastic polymers into molecular components will make plastics waste one of the cheapest feedstocks available and one of the most impactful in terms of circularity and carbon recycling. Our go-to-market strategy will involve first performing pilot studies with key players in these industries to demonstrate the economics of our solution before investing in our own process plants. The key aspect of our business model is that plastic waste is one of the cheapest feedstocks available, and the return on investment on the sale of product molecules will significantly outweigh the CapEx requirements. We're initially focusing on working with the existing recycling infrastructure frameworks to upcycle low-value byproducts as novel feedstocks for industries currently dependent on petrochemicals. We're specifically targeting crude waxes that comes out of the pyrolytic breakdown of plastics. We will convert these alkanes into aliphatic aldehydes that serve as core components in the $32 billion fragrance and flavor markets. Fatty aldehydes of varying lengths constitute some of the most important nodes in the fragrance palette. However, 95% of the chemicals used in commercial fragrances are derived from virgin petrochemicals. We will enable a new, cheaper feedstock to help promote a more circular fragrance and flavor industry. Our work is currently focused on 4 key areas: patent applications for our enzyme systems, improving our enzymes using directed evolution, the development of a deep learning platform to guide our enzyme evolution, and creating process books for an integrated biotransformation system from feedstock to product molecules. The use of enzymes to recycle plastics is an early but quickly emerging sector. What sets Syndo apart is that we're targeting not only the breakdown of polyolefins and vinyl plastics, but the generation of high-value molecules from these feedstocks to serve as a broader chemical industry. We have an excellent team working on our solution. I have a PhD in chemical biology from the University of Oxford, specializing in biocatalysis. Juliet has a commercial background in consulting, focusing on projects in packaging and pharma, and Ben Davis is a professor of chemistry at Oxford and one of the most notable protein chemists in the world. During the Plug and Play program, we have benefited in 3 key areas. First, from excellent mentors who have helped us hone in our go-to-market strategy and provided valuable contacts with relevant corporates. Second, we have several active corporate conversations on how we can shape our solution to best fit their particular sector. And finally, networking with other startups both in the program and across verticals. Moving forward, we will continue leveraging the Plug and Play ecosystem for key corporate contacts. We raised our pre-seed last year with SOSV and has since then gone through the IndieBio Accelerator program in New York. This year, we aim to form strategic partnerships to scale up our process in pilot studies and get to market. We will also be raising a $1.5 million seed round to expand our team and launch the next stage of our product development. With that, I would like to thank you for your time, and together we can create a more circular economy for plastics.
Thank you, Gustav. Our next startup is Integrated Lipid Biofuels. Integrated Lipid Biofuels creates cost-effective production of biopolymer from organic waste. The general products of interest include specialty high-value bioproducts, renewable chemicals, and biofuels.
Thanks for the introduction. I'm Xiaozhang Xiong, CTO from Integrated Lipid Biofuels. Today, I will introduce our technology for producing biopolymers. The major application of bioplastics is packaging. The global polyhydroxyalkylate market will double from 2020 to 2025. By that time, it will reach $121 million. To address this huge market opportunity, we developed this new platform. We first convert organic waste into volatile fatty acid, which major component is acetic acid, by anaerobic digestion. For the next stage, we engineer a yeast to produce polyhydroxybutyrate. The yeast can utilize the VFA produced from the organic waste efficiently to produce PHB. The carbon efficiency can be further increased by co-feeding the strain with a little amount of sugars. The carbon efficiency reach higher than 85%. We will improve the product's performance, such as gas barrier, by introducing the monomers and further polymerization through the pathway engineering. This technology addresses two unmet needs for production of PHP. The first one is the performance. The second one is low cost, because we use low-cost feedstock and increase the carbon utilization efficiency. We have verified the advantage to overcome these two barriers in the lab compared with the existing technologies. We can utilize the low-cost feedstock. The second one, we engineer the yeast to produce various bio-based products other than biopolymers. These are our team members and advisor members. Integrated Lipid Biofuels is Washington State University spin-off company. The co-founder is Professor Shulin Chen from the university. This is our funding history, traction, and growth plan. Within the fundings from USDA and DOE, we build up the prototype, filed the IP protection, and also prove the concept. We have planned to build a large-scale production within the 7 years. So this is our strategy, how to translate our innovation into the marketplace with corporate partners. The first path is license technology and scale up the process. We also can sell the product to downstream and end users directly. The last one, we can customize the products and address some new applications. We really appreciate the opportunity provided by PMP for networking and to learn the great skills. We made significant progress in this program, such as develop this new pitch deck and business proposition. Outside this program, we were approached by other waste company and has a very active communications. We will submit USDA SBIR Phase 2 application by next February, and we also have a plan to raise $2 million to build the pilot test within the current stage. So thank you for your time and attention. Please just let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you for your presentation. Next, we will hear from Sam from Dipali. Dipali chemically recycles low-valued post-consumer PET plastic waste back into its high-valued original chemical components.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Dipali. And so right now there's a current plastic crisis. Of the 56 million tons of PET plastic that we produce yearly, only 9% is actually recycled, resulting in a very linear economy. And so we're going to change this into a circular economy by basically chemically recycling PET plastic. We do this at room temperature. We take the low-valued post-consumer PET plastic waste and convert it back into its two main chemical components, purified terphthallic acid and monoethylene glycol at room temperature. The raw material that we make is then sold back to industry so that industry can remake virgin quality PET plastic from our post-consumer waste. We can treat everything that the current industry can and cannot deal with, including mixed plastics, so PET PVC, for example, mixed colors, fabrics, fibers, etc. This allows us to save time, money, and resources. And so how we do this is we work with people who collect the PET plastic, we chemically recycle it, and then we sell this back to industry. And the main solutions that we offer for our customers and clients is the ability to avoid paying for incineration for products that don't meet quality control. We can help recyclers save money on the stuff that they can't recycle. And we can help companies meet new EU laws or laws in general about the amount of recycled PET that has to be in virgin PET new containers. We can also reduce our reliance on oil, which has a social benefit for people who have customers or clients that are very socially conscious of what they buy. So our team, the core founders are myself, Chris, and Bardia. We have over 30 years of chemistry and chemical engineering experience. We're backed by a strong board that has a very strong background in the polymer and plastic industry. We have the rest of our team, which is helping us obviously expand the company as we grow, as well as some business coaches that are helping us with this as well. Compared to other chemical recycling companies that are out there, we actually operate at room temperature. We don't say low temperature or anything else like this. We can deal with mixed streams. So this is like actual garbage or other composites like polypropylene, PET, things like this that are really hard to deal with. And we produce the two main monomers of PET plastic. We don't produce other chemicals either, like DMT or BHET, for example. So where we are and where we're going, in 2020, at the end of the year, we closed our pre-seed round. This year, we're looking for a seed round, which will help us get towards our commercialization path. We built a pre-demo plant, which is basically going to operate as a blueprint for this commercial plant that we plan on building. During this time and throughout the development of the company, we're also doing product testing to make sure we meet industry standards and needs for the PET plastic produced from waste, and also testing for other plastics out there. For example, we want to have some abilities to recycle polypropylene, polyethylene, high density, low density polyethylene, these sort of things. And then obviously expanding our patent portfolio and looking for exclusive partnerships as we go towards our commercialization. So we've had a really great time here at Plug and Play, and we've had a great time with the partners. We've signed some NDAs with them, and we are under discussions for what the next steps will be. On a, I guess, a personal side from us, we've completed our pre-demo plant, which has already processed over 20 kilograms of PET, and we are currently converting our PTA back to PET as well. What we're looking for are basically investors to take us to the next step. So we're looking for commercialization, people who have a strong background in building plants, as well as the polymer plastic industry. We're always looking for feedstock to obviously put into our plant, and then obviously first customers to buy the PTA and MEG that we produce. In terms of next steps, we're going to be finishing our commissioning, moving towards the commercialization, so developing the blueprints for that plant, and then moving forward with the partners. So I want to thank everybody here for your time and your attention and my very quick presentation. And I'm looking forward to any questions and talking to you guys in the next steps. Thank you.
Thank you, Dipali. Next up is Polymerize, which provides an artificial intelligence-powered platform to make product development highly efficient, helping companies save costs and bring materials to the market in 1/3 of the time.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kunal, and I'm really excited to present Polymerize to all of you. Thank you so much for joining in today. Before we take a deep dive, let's look at some of the technological advancements happening right around the corner, be it electrical mobility, aerospace, healthcare, agriculture, packaging. It's everywhere. What are these key drivers, technological advancements translating into? These key drivers are pushing companies to bring products faster, better, and cheaper to the market. But in order to do that, these companies need to have better innovation, efficient R&D, faster innovation, and also streamlined data sources. So we as a material informatics company identified to be sitting right between these two, because we enable companies to realize products to market through us in a much more efficient and a faster and a better way. So where is the problem? So the problem is in finding the right set of ingredients in the right proportions under the right processing conditions. But the problem is the current state of development in the companies is still heavily reliant on trial and error-based solutioning. Now, trial and error-based formulation development, product development is heavily cost-intensive, resource-intensive, and time-intensive. So how do we solve it? So we at Polymerize are combining historical formulation data and augmenting that with domain knowledge, process structure property relations, and information extracted through scientific literature. And then we deliver highly accurate recommended experiments to our customers, which means now the customers don't have to do hundreds of experiments to get that to meet the desired objectives, but now they can do that in much lesser number, maybe 5, 10, or 15. This translates for them into significant cost reduction, shorter time to market, and a faster innovation and IP. So what is our core value prop to our customers? So our core value proposition to our customers is in terms of accelerated go-to-market and a competitive placing against their competitors. For example, we enable companies to find replacement materials which could be cheaper and better and can enable them to develop product faster and better and go to the market much quicker. Some of the platform key features that we include are AI recommendation engine, comprehensive data management, advanced reporting analytics, and knowledge extraction. Our positioning is pretty strong in terms of understanding the entire landscape, right from raw materials to application. So if you look at our market, we are currently focusing in the Asian region with primary focus on polymer raw material manufacturers, compounders, additives, composites, and so on, but we have plans to expand to US and Europe. We are a year-old company coming out of Singapore, and our team consists of experts in AI, material scientists, and so on. My co-founder, Dr. Abhijit, has spent decades in working across multinational chemical companies. He has a deep expertise in terms of understanding the formulations, different processing conditions, and so on. Our advisor is an ex-Asia president, Motorola Solutions, and also he was president and CEO of Pacific Internet. Our traction has been phenomenal so far. Very happy to announce that we concluded all our paid trials successfully, exceeding our clients' expectations. We are working currently with Fortune 500 customers across US, Japan, and India, and are looking very optimistically at our current and the upcoming quarter. We also have tie-up with NTU Singapore and Accelerated Material Development Program Singapore. Our investors, so what are we looking for? We are actually looking for materials and polymer companies with innovation at their core who would like to try our technology, our platform, and see how we lead the innovation. We're also looking at strategic partners and investors as we are hitting our milestones and growing very strongly. Our progress with Plug and Play has been phenomenal. We are really thankful to them. We got the right mentors. The workshop that they organized were phenomenal, and we are looking to really convert our engagement with the customers, with the corporate partners through them. We look forward to engaging with you again, and we would love to hear from you. You can reach out to us on our email addresses as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kunal. Next, we will hear from Uncountable. Uncountable helps R&D teams cut development time, reduce testing iterations, and find innovative new products faster.
My name is Richard, and I'm here representing the company Uncountable. Uncountable has been around since 2016, and as a completely bootstrap company, which means we haven't taken any outside investment, have grown to 3 offices and are working with over 30 customers from a variety of different industries, that of which in the material space to pharma and biotech and food and more beyond that as well. And they've all been able to find value in this Uncountable platform that helps centralize all R&D data, collaborate better as a team, and make more data-driven decisions. Now, the problem we're specifically addressing here at Uncountable is the problem of unstructured, decentralized data being the biggest barrier to efficient, innovative developments. Now, we understand that teams are amassing data from a multitude of tools, most of it being disconnected and a lot of times unstructured, which means that it doesn't present the best opportunity to use this data for current and future developmental work. So what we've done is we've come up with this Uncountable platform that seamlessly connects all of your R&D data. So starting with this formula and property database, connecting your ingredients to your formulations, to your process parameters and corresponding measurements. And then with this larger suite of tools, of course, picking and choosing what's most appropriate, help create this data infrastructure that we find helps teams gain valuable insights that help accelerate development. Now, what I mentioned before, which is we find is unique across all ELNs, LIMS, ERPs, and even informatics tools, is this structured multi-layered data model that connects to all existing sources across an organization. Now, what does it mean to connect all the dots? What does it mean to have all your data connected? First of which, it means that our customers never run duplicate experiments. With our advanced search and filter tool, all your data is readily accessible and easy to be called upon at any given time. The second piece beyond that is there are easy to use visualizations, and we present the best opportunity to learn from this library of organizational knowledge. And what it really does is it saves from hours of unnecessary data cleaning and formatting that we find is very common when scientists actually analyze their data. And then beyond that, as we're collecting and structuring all this data, what teams are doing is they're inadvertently adding to their machine learning models' understanding of their formulating space, which means that we have these very powerful predictive tools able to both say, predict the performance of a recipe, but also to suggest recipes that might be most suitable for you to achieve some desired performance characteristics. Now, how do we differ from other customers in a similar space? Is the fact that we're working with reputable companies and they're all willing to attest to the usefulness of not only the software, but also our capability as a trusted partner and a software vendor. The experience with Plug and Play has been quite great. Currently, we have 10 ongoing conversations, 4 NDAs, and have 4 contractual agreements with current Plug and Play corporate partners. Now, beyond that, all of these connections we've made with other participating startups has helped us expand our network and improve our visibility as a company. And lastly, what are we actually looking for? So what we're looking for are for companies who are running experiments in a lab setting and looking to increase their efficiency across the board and accelerate the development of new products. We find that Uncountable will be a great fit. So please get in contact with me, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Richard. And our last startup before the quick break is Virtual Lab. Virtual Lab provides a state-of-the-art R&D environment based on rich R&D experience and advanced IT technologies to researchers. Welcome, Minkyu.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. This is Minkyu Park of Virtual Lab. This flash pitch is starting from the why we should introduce simulation to what are looking for. In 1879, Thomas Edison has invented light bulb with more than 1,000 trial and errors. This is called Edisonian approaches. However, the problem is every single trials we should pay for that. The research paradigm should be changed to the in silico approaches, which is based on computer simulation. What if we already knew about good starting points or origins of failure? Before perform the experiment, the simulation screens many candidates based on the theories and laws. We believe in that this leads to the reasonable R&D environment. However, why people feel difficulty to adopt simulation on their research? Because there are too many barriers, expensive equipment, domain knowledge, and complex Linux environments. Virtual Lab proposed cloud-based simulation platform, MaterialsCare. MaterialsCare is materials and chemistry simulation platform on cloud. Customer may perform simulation modeling, calculation, and analysis at once. Simulation is used in many fields such as semiconductor, metal, and polymer industry. According to the research data sheet, the market size of computer-aided engineering is growing at around 5% per year. So $5.8 billion is expected for this year. Also, worldwide HPC market size looks similar, $44 billion expected this year in revenue. There are many material science and chemistry expertise all around the world. They can provide beautiful code, know-how to another researchers. By the hands, even today, many researchers still follows Edisonian approaches. Virtual Lab want to change the research paradigm shift to the platform. We already have not only many successful stories, but also more than 4,000 users used MaterialsCare for their research today. Virtual Lab won a fundraising $600K this year from DSC Investments. Also, the revenue is around $1 million last year. Also, we are still looking for the fundraising partner and business to expand platform business. Virtual Lab consists of 17 members. Min-Ho Lee is a CEO graduate from Hanyang University. He was in HPC engineer previously and successfully developed simulation platform at KIST. Since we have focused on the research, 11 members have more than MS degrees. I think this is the most important part. Why Virtual Lab? Virtual Lab always try to find companions to change research paradigm. So I'm pretty sure that Virtual Lab has a strong team. They not only got a strong domain knowledge, but also mature experience. Second, Virtual Lab is unique and transparent. No one could success on cloud-based simulation platform all around the world. We will do that. Virtual Lab is open-minded, so we are going to expand bio, medicine, even food and research areas. I want to summarize what Virtual Lab is looking for. First, we are looking for the material and chemistry partner who need to introduce simulations. Second, we are looking for investment partners. Third, we are looking for a collaborate partner who provide nice and good technology to Virtual Lab. I would like to say Plug and Play gave us great opportunity and experience as well as perfect mentoring. We have got more than 4 deal flow, 3 active conversations, and chance to invest from Plug and Play. Harni Ahmed gave us nice coaching for many things, including pitch deck, presentation, and strategies. Virtual Labs deeply appreciate to the Plug and Play, giving a wonderful chance to us. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you again after finish this event.
Thank you, Virtual Lab. We will now be taking a 10-minute break. Please feel free to refill your coffee, stretch your legs, or start exploring the rest of our Attendify platform.
How do you track your team's innovation efforts? However that is, we've got an easier way. Let us introduce Playbook. Playbook is Plug and Play's innovation software. It is an exclusive tool only available for our ecosystem's corporate partners. With it, you and your team will be able to browse your curated startups database, create, discover, and rate lists of startups, track your engagement, pilots, and investments, analyze data from the tech ecosystem, organize private sessions with select startups, and so much more. Hundreds of corporations count on Playbook to empower their innovation journey. Get in touch to start using Playbook today.
Welcome back, everyone. We will jump right back into the startup presentations, starting with Baruz from Berchem. Berchem has developed a new type of additive and catalyst for PET plastic. Their additive improves the strength of PET by 66%, gas barrier properties by 29 times, and UV resistance by 52 times.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak about Berchem. Berchem is a material science company. The pictures in the background show the ugly world we are living in. Every year, mind-blowing 74 billion pounds of plastic ends up in the environment. If plastic pollution is such a big problem, why we don't use less of it? Unfortunately, this is not that straightforward. For desired application, a package should have minimum amount of plastic in it. And that's the problem we are solving at Berchem with our natural clay-based additive technology, which is like a white powder, as you can see in the background. This technology enables to use between 8 to 20% less plastic per packaging, which leads to reduction in plastic pollution. I am speaking between 4 to 5 million pounds per year, and also reduction in CO2 emissions. This is a patented technology. Moreover, our value proposition doesn't end over there. Our technology enables to save between $500,000 to $1.4 million per year per bottling plant on raw materials. Basically, these guys are spending less on plastic. Moreover, our technology enables to extend the product shelf life for 33%, which is a huge number for packaging industry. Our technology also enables new product lines. For example, I am speaking about 10-ounce soda bottle, which industry was trying to make, and some CapEx or OpEx savings. The next question you might ask, how we do it? We do it by significantly improving material properties. I am speaking about 29 times, 52 times improvement in key material properties. And next question you might ask, how we are different. We are different that we can combine clay with plastic and keep that crucial transparency. Nobody was able to achieve this before, and this transparency comes in the package with other material property improvements. This is our value chain. Our direct customer is going to be resin producers, but the impact of our technology propagates through the value chain, and we are getting lots of traction from global brand owners. Speaking about traction, we have more than 60K committed or paid for samples. Soon it's going to be over 100,000. And this comes from 14 companies we are speaking to. This is our mainly global brand owners and global packaging companies. This is a platform technology. Our beachhead market is PET, but this can be applied to other industrial polymers used for packaging. This is our timeline. Plug and Play journey was very impactful for us. During this period, we proved our performance with third party, found 2 proof of concept partners, earned initial income, found scale up and raw material suppliers. Team, a couple of words about myself. I have background in chemistry and material science that combined with 12 years experience in the material science space. This is my third project. Previous ones also were in material science. Professor Sai with 35 patents and 57 publications. She has industry-oriented research interests. Naveen did PhD and postdoc with professor, and he will be joining team as a CTO. Just to summarize our story, by 2026, we're aiming to save 61 million pounds of plastic going to environment, around billion pounds of in CO2 emissions and earn 65 million in revenue. In light of this pitch, we are looking for proof of concept partners and investment. I want to thank you for your attention and happy to talk to you. Thanks.
Thank you, Berkam. Our next startup is Aegis Packaging. Aegis Packaging offers barrier coatings with the highest level of barrier performances. It can be applied to plastics, films, and paper through a retrogravure application.
Hello, I'm Kai Liang from Aegis Packaging, and I'd like to introduce to you O2X, a high oxygen barrier coating, our solution for a circular economy. Large amount of plastic packaging produced today cannot be recycled. This is especially true for multi-material packaging, which poses a significant and unresolved challenge in recycling today. We need to transform our existing packaging into monomaterials. Monomaterials eliminate the need for material separation, making recyclability easier to achieve. However, use have been somewhat restricted due to their inability to achieve the same high barrier protection as multi-layer films. Aegis Packaging O2X can bridge that gap, providing protection required for monomaterials to be viable. We aim to replace aluminum foil, PET, and nylon with PP or PE coated films. At Aegis, we manufacture O2X, our patent-pending silicate polymer coating. We use food-grade materials and have passed migration tests. The laminated films are highly recyclable, bonds well, resistant to flex crack, and is transparent in appearance. O2X is a water-based and solvent-free coating. It can be easily coated with rotogravure coating machine. Here we can see an application example where we replaced the aluminum foil with O2X and made it recyclable while maintaining similar barrier performance. O2X laminated film performs well at high relative humidity. It can be applied on many types of substrates, including metallized paper and compostable films PLA. Currently, we have two types of laminated film product, PP and PE-based substrates, with high oxygen barrier that can start serving the market's needs today. Going forward, FMCG companies and retailers alike will have to be more aggressive in their approach to addressing sustainable packaging in response to growing consumer awareness and increasing regulatory requirements. We have a wide range of addressable market based on our barrier performance, with added focus on the orange dotted areas where products are more sensitive to oxygen. Global flexible packaging for food is estimated to be at $128 billion in 2020, of which estimated 38 billion is for high barrier application with OTR less than 10 cc per meter square per day. Aegis has initial target of 1.9 billion at 5% of market size. We are on track towards that target. Since our inception in 2018, we have designed and commissioned a mass production tooling line that is capable of 250 tons of output a month. We have participated in many trade shows globally and garnered the interest of many large brands, owners, and converters alike. Sales have started since 2019, and in 2021, sales continued to grow in Q1 and is on track to hit our target. We are actively engaging the market through various channels, and we have mainly target brand owners, converters, and distributors. Presently, we are in product trials with over 40 plus large brand owners and converters. We have managed to gather such interest due to our product competitive edge. O2X is highly adaptable and can be applied on a variety of substrates. It can be customized to suit different needs of the customers as well. The biggest advantage that we have is the speed and cost of adoption. Looking forward in the near horizon, we are already embarking on various R&D improvements. By this year, we'll be looking to move into retort packaging space, as well as improve the WVTR of barrier performance and expand our market significantly. We have also started on paper and compostable plastics, which will serve the market needs beyond 2030. And we have the right team and people to do this. With the wealth of business experience, deep tech technical knowledge, and sales network, manufacturing background, we believe we have the team to achieve this. We are looking for strategic partnership to collaborate with us for new packaging solutions, to expand our network quickly and capture market globally, or to guide us to be a global organization. If you envision the future of packaging like we do, we would love to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Aegis. Next up is Careo Packaging, which offers an upstream solution to the sustainability challenges of polymer-based packaging by changing the performance of the polymer during the injection process. Welcome, Careo.
Hello, we are Careo Packaging Technology. Careo Packaging Technology reduces both the environmental footprint and the manufacturing costs of plastic packaging. Plastic packaging is all around us. But unless we improve waste collection and recycling rates, our planet risks drowning in plastic. We can avoid this by transitioning from a linear to a circular economy. Careo Packaging Technology will accelerate the transition from linear to circular, as Careo improves the performance of polymers, enabling the production of plastic packaging using less material, made with more recycled material with better barrier performance, whilst improving the homogeneity of recycling streams. How does Careo do this? We leverage the power of nature by maximizing the potential of materials. Careo applies the science of flow-enhanced crystallinity to polymers. We have developed a mechanical way, a 3D printed metal insert added to the existing injection process. Careo's metal insert is fitted into current injection stretch blow molding machinery. The polymer material is injected into the preformed cavity and pushed through the insert. The friction within the metal insert creates a molecular ordering of the polymer melt. This enhances the performance of the material. Careo Packaging Technology, maximizing materials efficiency for a better environment.
Hello again. Thank you for having watched our video. My name is Tanguy van der Elst and I am one of the co-founders of Careo. Let me use the coming 120 seconds to tell you a little bit more about our company. And let's start with our team. The founders and the funders of Careo all have a common past, having worked together for the large FMCG AB InBev. Our managing partner was head of packaging innovation. And that is where we realized that to be efficient, an innovation needs to be scalable, using low capex for its rollout, and having the right IP protection. The Careo technology meets all these criteria. And to help us develop it, we work together with best-in-class knowledge centers, both in Europe and in the Americas. Now, the movie that you have seen showed how the technology worked, but what about our current technology maturity level? Well, we have completed the R&D process, meaning that we have proof of concept. Tests have shown that the performance of PET bottles improves when our technology is used to manufacture them. And now we are entering the engineering phase, where we will establish the full scope of performance improvement that is generated by our technology. When it comes to the market, our current focus is very much on the PET injection stretch blow molding, but it is important to realize that our IP and the know-how that we have gathered so far also apply to different manufacturing processes, whether EBM, film, or piping, and different types of polymer, whether they are bio-based or fossil-based. And finally, what about partnerships? Well, for the PET applications, we have the infrastructure to run a development program all the way through the commercial rollout. We can offer access to the information about our development process, and later on, eventually also pre-industrial trials. For the non-PET application, we are at a lower technology maturity level and are looking for partners that can use our technology and the insights that we have garnered to run their own development programs. Since we have joined Plug and Play and the New Materials Program, we have engaged conversations with 7 corporate members interested in partnerships, both for the PT and the non-PT applications. And we hope that many more will join us on this exciting journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tanguy. Next up, we will hear from Okeanos. Okeanos can replace the majority of plastic and packaging with stone. Their made from stone product is nature's solution to plastic pollution.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Connor Gallagher. I'm the Partnership Development Manager here at Okeanos. Thank you all for joining. And of course, a special thank you to Plug and Play. We were honored when we were chosen to be a part of this program. And since the start, we've connected with countless brands, manufacturers, multiple NDAs signed. We're really just excited for where those conversations have taken us, and definitely looking forward to the ones that are inevitably and hopefully sparked by this presentation here. So let me pull that up. I would like to preface the presentation here just by saying that here at Okeanos, we believe that we are an ocean of nations. No matter where you live, where you consume, where you produce your packaging, we are all connected by that same very ocean. But unfortunately, these marine environments are in rapid decline due to the proliferation of single-use plastic. Despite the many bans that have been and are being enacted around the world, single-use plastic will remain in our lives for many, many years to come. But what's the challenge here? We are all united by the problem of pollution, but we're really divided over the solution. Current alternatives such as bioresins are too expensive. There's limited production capacity of these alternatives. There's custom machinery that's required. Greenwashing is very common. Global recycling infrastructure does not yet support the majority of these alternatives. The list goes on. But there are many benefits of plastic. It's perceived to be recyclable, cost-effective, convenient, efficient, flexible, lightweight, strong, but it's at the forefront of the pollution problem. Just a few numbers for you. Right now, the average person ingests 5 grams of plastic each week. And by 2050, experts expect that the ocean will contain more plastic than fish, which is honestly very horrific. But where does our solution come in? Okeanos has patented formulations to produce functional compounds comprised of 50 to 80% calcium carbonate. The resulting packaging or single-use item it represents to us is probably the most important things for brands, manufacturers, and maybe even more importantly, consumers, a significant reduction in your overall virgin plastic content of the end product, and a dramatic reduction in CO2 footprint and water footprint. But we don't think we're perfect. We continue to innovate by making continuous incremental improvements in both the stone content, binder composition, and degradation. Hopefully one day reaching the calcium carbonate composition of that of an egg, which is 97%. We believe it's nature's perfect packaging and a perfect example of biomimicry. But the solution has been in front of us all along. It's calcium carbonate, a renewable resource making up 4% of Earth's crust, readily available, inexpensive, FDA safe for humans, animals, plants. It can be used in blown film, thermoforming, injection molding through our technology. Here's just a quick visual of the carbon footprint comparison of 100% plastic, paper, aluminum compared to our compound with stone. And our existing compound and stone capacity globally, we're at about 7 plants worldwide right now, which is going to about 15 in the next couple of months. And then also you can see here our stone capacity worldwide. It's really important for us to be able to source our stone locally, providing local jobs and actually being able to manufacture in the location where we're actually sourcing the stone, which of course additionally reduces the carbon footprint in that sense also. Our branding strategy, I'll quickly go over this. Going green as a society has what we've been doing for years now, and it really hasn't worked. Okeanos does not believe in greenwashing whatsoever, and we offer honest labeling and honest solutions that are really actually very interesting. I don't have enough time to go into today, but please, if you want to contact me after the call, you're of course free to do so. Also, something that's very important to our employees here that I'll touch on pretty quickly. We give back, and we're very proud of it, through education, conservation, activism, environmental research, awareness. We're able to spread our message not only through reducing plastic, but also through all of these, and it's really important for us. In conclusion, and in an eggshell, Okeanos, like I said, has patented formulations to produce functional compounds comprised of 50 to 80% calcium carbonate. And through strategic manufacturing partnerships. These compounds are produced in various regions around the world, like I said, and sold directly to manufacturers to produce compounds that are made from stone and products that are made from stone. And part of Okeanos' sales strategy is to co-develop single-use packaging with local, regional, and global brands who are looking for more sustainable options and looking to make a change and a difference. I'll skip over this just for time's sake, but if you do remember a couple things from this presentation, let it be this. Okeanos, made from stone packaging, immediately and drastically reduces the plastic and carbon footprint of your packaging. Most importantly, we can do this on existing machinery, and we can do it today at no extra cost. So please, if you're interested in learning more, you can reach us at madefromstone.com that you see in the bottom right corner there, or the email trade@madefromstone.com. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Conrec. And our next startup is PCN Materials, which creates nanomaterials with disinfection and antibacterial activity targeting materials, water, and air. Welcome, George.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is George Kyriakidis, CEO and co-founder of PCN Nanomaterials, a company that is addressing two global challenges. The first one is related to air pollutants, in particular in the indoor environment, where people are spending more than 90% of their time. We know that air pollutants are responsible for a very high number of premature deaths both in Europe and the US, while they are responsible for billions of euros lost in healthcare and lost work hours. The second global challenge is related to airborne pathogens, and in particular in the pandemic era, in hospitals, the problem of superbugs, which is responsible for a very high number of deaths both in Europe and the US. PCN is introducing modified titania activated by visible light, in contrast with existing materials in the market that get activated by UV light. These materials lead to the creation of radicals on the surface, which in turn decompose VOCs and disrupt pathogens. This way, the competitive advantage of the company is not only on the fact that it works both outdoors and indoors, but also is producing almost zero byproducts. It has affordable materials, 30% less in price than competing materials in the market, and materials that can be applied in different mattresses with a long durability. PCN is producing photocatalysts based on modified titania with three distinct attributes: disinfection, depollution, and self-cleaning, in powder or in spray form, suitable to be incorporated in a number of mattresses. These materials can be fabrics, glasses, metals, air conditioning, paints, or award-winning antibacterial cement tiles. So far, the company has applied the material in a large-scale application, a road tunnel, which 7 years down the road shows no need for maintenance and a very high reduction on running costs, electricity, and so forth. PCN materials complied with industry standards in as far as depollution and antibacterial is concerned, as certified by accredited labs throughout Europe. The company has also a strong patent portfolio based on more than 10 years of research, composed of patents in Europe, Greece, and China. The road model of the company is based on a B2B concept, which is composed of clients of a particular sector with some market in the Balkans, Europe, and the Middle East. The nucleus of the company is composed of people with strong scientific research and business background. This team is supported by complementary personnel coming from the financial team, the chemical engineers from the production line, scientists from the R&D department, and technical support personnel. So our way to the top started in late 2019 with a seed capital funding from a local VC of 0.83 million. Now we are raising 5 million euros so that we can increase our 2 metric ton per year capacity to more than 200 metric tons per year. And later on, 5 years down the road, we will raise 7 million euros so that we can increase our capacity to more than 1,000 tons per year and meet the demands of our customers. In conclusion, our experience working within the Plug and Play program has been very fruitful. So far, we had more than 18 deep dive discussions, 8 signed NDAs, 3 within Plug and Play and 5 outside, 4 proofs of concept, and 2 other funding opportunity schemes within national and European programs. So if you find our technology interesting, please come along and visit our booths. We will only be too glad to give you more information and discuss with you your needs. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, PCN. The next startup that we'll hear from is NanoSpy. NanoSpy has developed a new state-of-the-art rapid detection biosensor, providing results in 20 minutes from collection to detection without the need for an enrichment process, environmentally harmful reagents, or laboratory facilities.
Hello, my name is Darren Heisterkamp, president of NanoSpy. Today, I'd like to introduce our new biosensor platform and give you a close-up view of one use for foodborne pathogen detection. First, to set the stage, we're entering a large market with a very good growth rate. Our platform is suitable for solutions across the entire market spectrum, but being located here in the Midwest, we started out by taking a look at opportunities in the food industry. Our target here is food poisoning, which affects 1 out of 6 people in the US every year. That's about double the number of people who've been affected so far by COVID-19. 2 bacteria, Salmonella and Listeria, comprise 42% of the estimated economic impact of foodborne illness, with a potential $35 billion per year in healthcare costs, lost productivity, and loss of life. In the recent decade, food recalls because of Listeria were up 70%, and food recalls for Salmonella were up over 500%. If you're a food company, direct costs of such a recall average $10 million. Indirect costs such as fines and litigation can be several multiple millions more than that, and the ripple effects of a contamination can have billion-dollar impacts on an entire food segment. The problem remains that food companies still lack the tools for fast on-site testing to safeguard against these bacteria. The current state-of-the-art methods come with many burdens, the most significant of which is a lengthy enrichment process lasting up to 48 hours before tests can begin. Food companies have to decide whether to hold food in cold storage for 2 days waiting for test results, or take the risk and ship early. With the NanoSpy solution, the current state-of-the-art has been designed out. No reagents, no labs, and no enrichment process. Our new biosensor platform is manufactured using economical methods and harnesses the superior properties of nanostructured graphene for versatile and robust electrochemical sensing. With high electroactivity for accurate measurements and high electrode surface area for optimal loading of biorecognition agents, the key demand drivers of sensitivity, specificity, and speed are now combined into one simple test. Food companies can now go from collection to detection in 20 minutes instead of 48 hours. During production, food safety staff perform their same sample process and put the collection sponge inside a plastic bag with a buffering solution. Following simple procedures, the buffering solution containing any bacteria dislodged from the sponge is transferred into a plastic test tube and sealed with our biosensor cap. After 15 to 20 minutes of contact, bacteria become attached to the biosensor, and we can measure the change in biosensor impedance to determine an exact count of live bacteria per milliliter of sample solution being tested. You've just experienced 144x improvement in testing cycle time and have a clear digital readout of the results right in the palm of your hand. Now your decisions whether to ship or contain food product can be made in near real time. As I mentioned earlier, our platform is suitable across the entire biosensor market spectrum. We've tested our biosensor in food and ag tech, health point of care, and biosecurity. You can see that each space offers us a number of opportunities to establish development partnerships. Already, we've made corporate introductions through the Plug and Play program that have led to 1 NDA and 4 conversations. In addition, outside of Plug and Play, we've signed 1 NDA and have 3 conversations ongoing. Our team is built around complementary skill sets. Carmen and Jonathan are the inventors of the technology, leveraging Carmen's 17 years working with pathogens and food safety testing, and Jonathan's 14 years developing in-field diagnostic solutions. I bring over 25 years of global commercialization experience to the company. There's approximately $2 million already of grant-funded university research behind this technology. We're seeking seed funding to engineer a first commercial product for a targeted application. I'm happy to speak further with anyone about NanoSpy and our technology, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Darren. Our next startup is Lusoco. Lusoco produces glass that harvests energy during the day and emits light at night. They provide printing glass to create stunning designs that harvest daylight and shine at night, and believe that energy harvesting need not compromise on aesthetics.
Some of you might recognize this scene. It is Broadway. But what you probably didn't notice is that this picture was taken 50 years ago. The point I make here is that signage is a huge market that has been untouched by change. Current state of the art for illuminated signage has several issues, where digital screens are extremely energy consuming and have to be on 24/7 to display an image, in the night often resulting in significant light pollution. Where the classical sign still is energy demanding and often has a low readability by the way the image is illuminated. My name is Jeroen de Schiphorst, co-founder of Lusoco, and we will redefine illuminated visual communication. We developed signage that is visible day and night while having higher contrast and less light pollution, and generates its own energy, resulting in no energy use or even energy generation. We achieved this with our high-efficient fluorescent inks. In this time-lapse, you can see how our signage transitions to the night, being always readable with the energy generated during the day. But we take this technology to the next level. We created a platform technology protected by a strong patent portfolio, where our inks and prints are the center of attention, but we also provide the components required to create new solutions. The circles in this presentation show how our various patents cover these segments, and our IP is our asset for us to license our technology, allowing us to enter several market segments with long-term high revenue margins and setting up high entry barriers for competition. When comparing us to others, the main difference is that our inks are extremely efficient. And what makes us unique is that we provide a total solution to redefine illuminated visual communication in signage and the growth market, automotive, where printing companies often only provide inks and prints. We enter the market by providing a complete product, but our product line shifts from creating solutions to a license model, allowing us to grow our technology exponentially. What I want to highlight is that safety signs, bus shelters, road signs, and illuminated automotive glass are not just ideas, but concrete leads we are developing together with our major players in the field, our corporate partners, to enter the market efficiently. Our revenue streams follow this trend in the same conditions, where a huge step can be seen by switching from a product model to a component model, allowing us to grow the company. This is displayed also in our financial projections, with a huge increase in margin when switching to a license model. And with this increase in revenue and margin, this is a very profitable business model, resulting in a break-even in 2024, while in 10 years, we will be the most advanced fluorescent ink company in the world. To achieve our goals, we have a great mix of an experienced entrepreneurial team and great scientists, where my co-founder Teun is a serial entrepreneur who started and grown several businesses from the initial phase up to an exit. Our company was founded in 2017, where we achieved 850,000 euros in non-dilutive funding, got our own printing equipment to protect our technology in-house and to enter the market faster, and we got our first launching customer demanding already 200,000 of our signs. The plug-and-play program provided a great environment for us, resulting in 5 deep dives and 3 NDAs with a high chance of collaboration. Now, for now, we are looking for an investment of 2.5 million euros to grow our team and to develop our inks to reach the desired lifetime inefficiencies, perform our joint development agreements in the segments that I just described, and to achieve the contracts required to have a revenue of 4 million in 2022. With an expected revenue of 10 million in 2025. And today, we want to get to know corporates for collaboration and start building a relation with investors that are well connected in our field.
Thank you, Lusoco. The last startup that we will hear from today is AQDot. AQDot is a chemtech company with a focus and expertise in developing, licensing, and selling novel proprietary products that are exceptional at capturing, holding, and releasing a variety of materials. Welcome, Jing.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jing. I'm one of the co-founders of AQDot, where we deliver cleaner air everywhere for everyone. AQDot is a transformational chemtech company based in Cambridge, UK. We're funded by a number of UK-based venture capitalists, and we're currently looking to fill our growth round. We're also looking for strategic commercial and manufacturing partnerships to introduce our core technology, AQFresh, to new applications and new markets. So AQFresh is this empty barrel-shaped molecule. It's very good at capturing a wide variety of different molecules, like odor molecules or pollutant molecules. It can also release what's been captured in a controlled way, for example, releasing fragrance molecules upon the capturing of odor or pollutants molecules. The uniqueness of this technology is that it's more versatile and effective than other existing technologies. So in terms of its versatility, there are 5 benefits in one ingredient, from odor elimination to anti-pollutants to smart fragrance release and inactivation of allergens and viruses. It's also got a lot of flexibility in the way that it can be formulated. On the efficacy side, it's more than 1,000 times more effective on a molecular level than its nearest rival, cyclodextrin. It can sustain fragrance for up to 5 days and eliminate nearly 100% allergens and viruses in a very short amount of time. It's also very safe to use. It's got the highest level cradle-to-cradle material health certificate, and it's safe for humans and the environment. We have a very much de-risked platform for rapid growth. We have robust IP protection, including 19 patent families covering from state of matter to application patents, regulatory approval in the US, EU, and China, outsourced scaled manufacture for up to multi-ton scale, as well as sustainability ensured throughout the value chain. Our target market is very much in air quality, which is more than 200 billion pounds per annum. The total addressable markets are segmented based on their pain points and the real needs from the market shown here. These are big markets, and we're also addressing important sustainable development goals in each of these. Here's an example of some of our target customers and a snapshot of our sales funnel with the number of at each level, number of customers at each level rapidly going down towards partnership at the moment. Here's our sales rep forecast. The orange line is the base case, and the green line is the accelerated revenue case, which is very much where we're working towards. We have a very strong team. We have a CEO who's run public companies in the past, a COO who's 19 years in Procter & Gamble in commercial roles, and a CFO who's floated a unicorn company on NASDAQ, and also a chairman who's also the chair of British Patient Capital. Since joining the Plug and Play program, where we're hoping to be connected with more corporate partners, we've achieved a lot of conversations. We have 6 active conversations, 3 NDA signed and 2 in negotiation at the moment, and we've sent 2 samples for evaluation. The biggest takeaway is very much these connections and meaningful conversations that we've had, and hopefully to continue to have. And beyond the program, we hope to stay in touch and continue to leverage for future growth. In the meantime, we've also signed a global exclusive collaboration agreement with Elementis, one of the global specialty chemical companies specializing in deodorants and antiperspirants using AccuFresh. Our partnership has been featured in their latest investor presentations by the CEO as a high efficacy active. We've also onboarded 2 new investors, BGF and OP6 Innovation. So in summary, AccuDot has AccuFresh, a unique chemtech platform, strong commercial attraction in air quality, and a very strong team. We're looking to fill the growth round and form strategic commercial and partnership.
Thank you so much, Jing. And this concludes our pitch session. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Sophia Willis, and I'm the Program Manager for New Materials in Packaging and Sustainability. I'd now like to switch gears a little to go over the awards for Batch 11. We'll start with our corporate award. This corporate partner joined us in July of 2020, and since then has been tremendously engaged with our batch startups. They're open to introductions and have utilized every opportunity to learn about new technologies and startups. Our corporate award for Batch 11 goes to SABIC. Now here to say a few words is Jay Amarasekara, Senior Technology Manager at SABIC Ventures.
Hello, my name is Jay Amarasekara. I'm attached to SABIC Corporation. More specifically, I'm attached to the SABIC Corporate Venture Arm. Thank you for this recognition. Myself and everybody in SABIC Ventures team truly honored getting this recognition from Plug and Play. In SABIC Ventures, we are looking to invest and collaborate with the startups that are strategic to our needs. We usually call it hunting grounds. So when we decided to join Plug and Play, we learned Plug and Play has a global reach and a good ecosystem with startups. So that's why we got the anchor membership in materials and packaging verticals last July. So since then, Plug and Play helped us with 4 deal flow sessions to do deal flows based on our hunting grounds. And we also joined the Plug and Play when Plug and Play was just finished the batch 10 selection. But we got an opportunity to interact with the batch 10 startups ecosystem. And also we were heavily involved with the batch 11 selection, and also the networking with the startups came with the batch 11. Not only that, we also now work very closely with the Sustainability and Alliance to End Waste Plastic team. Recently, we got connected to the AgTech vertical. Also, we are working to get more connection to the Plug and Play China team. So all these things help us to get connected to and screen about 200 startups during the last 9 months. Out of these 200 startups, we now having a deeper discussion with about 40 startups. This help us to landscape the startups in according to our hunting grounds. So through this landscaping, we identified few startups to move forward with a much deeper discussions, and we are executing 2 non-disclosure agreements to have collaboration discussions and investment discussion. So all along, during the last 8 or 9 months, we had a very good connectivity to a startup ecosystem with Plug and Play. And I should thank our account manager, Omar, for getting all these connections, and Dene for executing the deal flows and getting us connected to the startups, and Brian and Matt for getting connected to the sustainability vertical as well as the AgTech vertical. And all the other people helped me, Alexandra and Saul. Thank you very much for all the support. So we hope to continue to work with the Plug and Play going forward and get more connection to the startup ecosystem. And hopefully we have a very good working relationship in next few years. Thank you very much again for the award, and we truly appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those kind words, Jay. Not only do we want to take the time to recognize our engaged corporate partners, but we also want to highlight the startup that has been highly communicative, impressed our corporate partners, and overall leveraged the Plug and Play platform to its fullest capacity. The Batch 11 Startup Award goes to AQDOT. AQDOT has attended almost all of the networking and educational workshops, received great feedback from our corporate partners, and stayed focused and organized throughout the 3-month accelerator program. They recently, as Jing mentioned earlier, entered an exclusive global collaboration with the Elementis in deodorants and antiperspirants using AQFresh, and they are currently raising to fill their growth round. So get in touch with them at their startup booth if you're interested in joining. With that, I'm going to hand this off to Alexander Neeson, who will wrap this event up.
Thank you for attending today's session. In 1 moment, we'll be ending this live stream and the Attendify networking will be open. We suggest that you stay on until at least noon Pacific Standard Time. This Attendify platform will be open until the end of May, and you'll be able to continue chatting attendees until the end of the month. Though we encourage you to use this time to utilize the Attendify platform, explore all the features, and get to networking today. If you have any issues, there is a help desk and Plug and Players will be able to help you troubleshoot. Lastly, I want to thank you once again. A special thanks to all the startups and our corporate partners. Without you, this would not be possible. And if you are looking to join our platform, feel free to reach out to anyone on our team directly, or you can go to plugandplaytechcenter.com/join. Thank you and happy networking.